What is your perception of homework in China?
When I say that I have a lot of homework going home, and then they're like, just imagine how much homework you would have in China. Because I do go to a private school, I think it might be a bit closer in like terms of academic. But I still think China leads in academic stuff like a lot more. My parents have also used that to their advantage.
Hello, I'm a Future Voice young reporter. May I interview you?
Sure.
So first, could you introduce yourself?
My name is Andrew. I'm in 7th grade going to the Overlake School, and some of my hobbies are playing violin, soccer, and solving Rubik's Cubes.
Were you born in the US or China?
I was born in the US.
What is your perception of homework in China? Like, I know you haven't been to school in China. At least I don't think so.
So mostly what I heard from my parents, they said that China's like really hard academically, like a lot more advanced, maybe even like 1 or 2 years ahead from where we are now in the US. And then they're like, when I say that I have a lot of homework going home, and then they're like, just imagine how much homework you would have in China. Because I do go to a private school, I think it might be a bit closer in like terms of academic. But I still think China leads in academic stuff like a lot more. My parents have also used that to their advantage, making me do a lot more like stuff, like academic stuff like math and that kind of.
How do you think the attitude towards work and homework are different in China versus US?
I think I kind of touched on this before, but I think China is a lot more focused on its academic and homework. And then the US is like kind of just, I'm not going to say it's not focused on it, but it's probably a little bit less focused because like there's a lot of other stuff you can do in America that could still make you money. While in China, it's like, I think having a high intellectual ability is like a standard for Chinese students from what my dad says. I think that's probably I think the academic difference is there's a pretty big gap between the Chinese academic standards and the normal US academic standards.
What do you think is something that you wish that Americans knew about?
Something I would probably want the US to know more about China is their traditions, like their cultural holidays. A lot of people know that there's things like Lunar New Year, but not a lot of people like actually know what it means or where it came from. And I think if you can really learn like what's the origin of all of these holidays, it can become really fascinating. And that's probably one thing I would like the US to know about China is that our culture and our tradition is very, very diverse, and it's really, really exciting to learn about.
How about the other way around, like a Chinese person about America?
Chinese person about? I don't really know what Chinese people know about America, like based on, if I were to go to my instincts, I would probably say like some sporting events. Like probably want China to know more about like the sports that the US play.
Do you use social media often?
Yeah, I would say that I use social media pretty often.
Relatively what sites?
Mostly like streaming apps like maybe sometimes YouTube or Hulu or Netflix, or like some apps to watch like soccer games. Also maybe like some Chinese apps like 小红书 to learn some soccer tips.
So, what do you think is the biggest difference between Chinese social media apps like Douyin or 小红书, like you said, and American social media apps like TikTok, Twitter, X, these sorts of apps?
for me, I think U.S. social media apps have a lot more diversity than Chinese apps, based on what I know.
Do you think that you would prefer the more diversified U.S. social media over like the more centered Chinese social media?
I think like if I were, yes, I would, because like I like having a more wide range of content that I like to watch.
What do you think is the impact of social media on Chinese students versus American students?
I think for American students, like some social media platforms like may have a lot of false information for students, and it might be a result of the more diversified content. And I think Chinese social media, it doesn't have that much of like fake images or fake videos or that kind of disinformation or misinformation. It's more like practical and direct. So I guess Chinese people don't like want to waste their money on like maybe some social media that they don't want. Like maybe they don't spend as much time on it.
Do you think that American teens use social media more than Chinese teens?
Yes, I would probably say so. I think it's maybe more of a cultural influence. I think that China is a lot more focused on its academics than maybe the U.S. is, and then the U.S. is it's not as strict with some schedules that it uses. I remember hearing somewhere where like the Chinese government like limits where middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, and high schoolers can go based on like their bedtimes and that kind of stuff. Like they close outside entertainment and shops, which gives them a more academic focus. While the U.S. doesn't really have anything like that. They give people a lot more freedom to go onto like social media apps whenever they want. More people are posting on these apps. That this is the reason why like US attracts teens a lot more.
What do you think? Which country has better everyday technology? For example, like payment apps or online shopping.
I think it's actually pretty close. Like China, they have apps like Temu, for shopping. It makes everything like pretty cheap. I think both of them have their highs and lows.
So are you saying that the cost of living in China is less expensive than the cost of living in the United States?
I think probably yes, because like China is a center for like manufacturing and like a lot of things. Like when you look at the labels, they say made in China because it's the labor is cheap. Yeah.
Going back to the idea of everyday technology, so you know how WeChat has like you can go to Alipay on WeChat,
Yeah.
and you can like do a lot of different things on WeChat.
Yeah.
Do you think that this mega model is better than the separate apps that we use in the United States?
I use WeChat a pretty good amount, like a lot. PayPal, like payment systems, and a lot of other things all in one app, which sometimes can be convenient because you don't have to switch through all of these apps. You don't have to download all of these apps. You can just have one of them.
If you had to say one thing to Chinese students learning about America, what would you say?
I would probably say like just look for your opportunities. Like I think there's a lot of opportunities in America. Like even the government says so itself. There's a lot of job opportunities. Like I said, like a very diverse country. You can specialize in a lot of different things. There's a lot of different majors, a lot of universities out there. So just try and find what you like and keep going with that.
Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.